Alright, eyeshadow lovers, this video is for everyone out there who loves super shiny, super sparkly duochrome eyeshadow toppers. We are going to be swatching my absolute favorites out of my collection, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on in. So today's video is going to be all about duochrome eyeshadow sparkly toppers. Now I understand this is not everyone's cup of tea. I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say that they don't like a specific eyeshadow in a palette or maybe a single shadow just because it's an eyeshadow topper of some sorts. I've heard people say that they hate them with like a burning passion before, and I used to kind of be that way as well, but honestly I just didn't really know how to use them at the time, or I just didn't really want something that was super sparkly. But somehow something inside of me changed and I was awoken to absolutely loving and living and breathing and dying for eyeshadow sparkly toppers, and ever since then I can't put them down. But I know there are some of you guys out there that are with me on this, that are into duochrome sparkly glittery eyeshadow toppers, so this video is for you. Now these are some of my absolute favorite single eyeshadow duochrome lid toppers. Now I'm gonna do a video like this in the near future where I just show you guys my favorites that are in palettes, because there are so many I can't even count. But for today's video, we are just going to be strictly talking single shadows here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on into swatching these. Alright guys, we are going to be starting out the swatch party with Mood Ring from Kristin Lee Cosmetics. This is a beautiful iridescent base shadow that has a bunch of pink and blue glitter running throughout it. Now in this video, you're going to see that it looks a little bit more teal blue, but in person it gives off more of a purpley pink vibe, and that's just because of the type of sparkles that are in this shadow. In different lighting it can definitely pull blue or it could pull pinky purple. It just depends on what kind of lighting you're under, and for this lighting it looked more blue. But as you can see here, the shadow is a little bit chunkier, but once you get it onto the eyes, it smooths out pretty nicely, and it is super shiny and super reflective and ultra iridescent, as you can see here. It's beautiful, and I absolutely love it. I have been totally digging Kristin Lee Cosmetics lately, and this shadow did not disappoint. So our next shadow is by a very controversial person, but this is the shade Teal Aquamarine by Kat Von D, and this is actually a highlighter, or it's supposed to be used in unison with the Alchemist highlighters, but I use this as an eyeshadow. It's a beautiful iridescent eyeshadow that's pretty similar to Mood Ring from Kristin Lee Cosmetics, but this has just a straight up teal glitter running throughout it. It is stunning. It is super, super intense in teal. Like I said, on the camera, these iridescent based shadows look a little bit more white and a little bit more washed out, but in person, these are ultra, ultra shiny and beautiful. And I'm going to be swatching all of these shadows over a black base as well, just to show off the true color of these, because sometimes it can be hard to see on the skin. So this next shade is by Touch of Glam Beauty, and this is the eyeshadow Fantasy. This is a beautiful periwinkle light lilac type of eyeshadow that has almost like a periwinkle sparkle and a gold sparkle running throughout it. This one has a little bit more of a sheer base than the other two that I just showed you, but it definitely still has that iridescent quality running through the shadow. And I guess I forgot to swatch that one, so my apologies there. But this next shadow here is from Lexi Beauty, and this is the shade Starboy. As you can see, this is a beautiful creamy light teal. This shadow is super, super buttery to the touch. I love it. I could take a bath in it. But this is an iridescent teal shade that is super pale and has a bunch of teal glitter running throughout it. It looks a little bit more washed out on camera, but that's just the nature of these types of shadows. They're always a little bit more sheer because they have that kind of iridescent sparkle going on. They're always going to look a little bit more sheer on camera, but in person, this is a beautiful seafoamy teal shade, and as you can see over the black base, you can really see that teal glitter coming through. The shade is freaking phenomenal. If you are into blues, I highly, highly suggest Starboy from Looxi Beauty. The next shade that I wanted to show you guys is also from Touch of Glam Beauty, and this is the shade Sweet Nectar, which I've actually talked about a few times here on my channel. Now, Sweet Nectar has a bit of a champagne base, but it has green and gold glitters running throughout it. It's really pretty, and it's a little bit more neutral than the others that I've shown so far, but it's still really shiny and really beautiful on the eyes, and it's really good for days when you don't want to go for something super colorful. You want something a little bit more muted, but you still want something that's really sparkly. Now this next shade, as you can see here, is freaking stunning to look at. Like, I could just stare at this for hours. It's mesmerizing. And this is from Impulse Cosmetics. This is the shade Tinsel, and this looks like literal tinsel. This looks like foil, and as you can see here, it's kind of like a champagne-y color, but it's super, super shiny, and it doesn't have much of a base to it. It doesn't have an iridescent base. It doesn't really have a color behind it other than just a buttload of shine, which I love. It gives you a really wet effect on the eyes, and it is just so creamy and beautiful. And over the black base, you're gonna see that it doesn't really show up as much of anything, but on the eyes, it just looks so shiny. It kind of just looks like you dumped a tube of lip gloss onto your eyelids, but look at that beautiful, shiny, wet goodness there. It is absolutely gorgeous. I just love it. So this next shadow is one that I've talked about quite a bit on my channel as well, and this is Lexi Beauty's Mirage. This is a dupe for a shade in one of the Pat McGrath palettes. I believe it's from the Pat McGrath Mothership 2, the bronzy shade that's in there. This is a beautiful pink bronze duochrome that has a bunch of sparkle running throughout it. Now this shade has a bit of a coppery undertone, but more so is like a champagne with pink sparkles and bronze sparkles running throughout it. And Mirage by Looxi is also a dupe for one of the shades in the Melt Baby Girl stack, the shade Hopeless Romantic. This is an exact dupe for that shade as well. This next pink shade here is arguably one of the prettiest lid toppers that I have. This is the shade Dollface by Lexi Beauty, and like I said, this is a pink, super sparkly shade that has a bunch of gold glitters running throughout it. It is a little bit on the chunkier side, but once you smooth it out onto your eyes, it is like pink and gold foil. It is absolutely beautiful. It just has this wonderful texture to it. It definitely doesn't emphasize the texture on your eyelid. It just has a really bright, shiny quality to it that we don't really see in most usual pressed pigment shadows. So moving on to this beautiful red duochrome lid topper, this is the shade Beyond This World, and this is from fyrinnae Cosmetics. I don't know if it's fyrinnae or fyrinnae. I always want to say fyrinnae, but I'm pretty sure it's fyrinnae. But nonetheless, this is a gorgeous duochrome eyeshadow. Now it might look purple and kind of taupey in some lights, but it has a plummy burgundy undertone, so it shifts from like a cool toned taupey purple to a warm berry plummy burgundy-ish shade. It is ultra foiled, as you can see here, and it is unlike any shadow that I've seen before. So this next pan of sparkly goodness here is from Nabla Cosmetics, and this is one of their really popular shades called Glasswork, and a lot of people have this shade in their collection, but this is kind of similar to Impulse Cosmetics Tinsel in a way, just because this is a shadow that also doesn't really have a base pigment. It's basically just a bunch of sparkle that's packed into an almost sheer base, so it just gives you a super, super wet look on your eyeballs that's not really going to give you any base color. It's just going to give you a bunch of sparkle on your eyelids and make it look like you used an eyeglass or even lip gloss on your eyes, and it's a lot less uncomfortable than putting an eyeglass or lip gloss on your eyelids. So speaking of super sparkly eyeshadows from Nabla Cosmetics, this is their shadow in Glasswork. And this is really similar to what I just showed you, but it has a deeper base, and the sparkles in the actual shadow itself are of a deeper pigment. So it looks a little bit more taupey on the eyes. It kind of gives like a MAC blue brown kind of feel, but not nearly as intense. It's like MAC blue brown if you picked up like the tiniest amount of that pigment and sheared it out quite a bit on your eyelids. But even though it doesn't have much of a base color, it makes up for that with the amount of sparkles that are in this eyeshadow. It just looks wet on your eyeball. It is truly beautiful, and it's no surprise that this is one of Nabla's best sellers. Now, the final beautiful, super sparkly lid topper that I have to show you guys today is also from fyrinnae Cosmetics, and this is the shade Fantasy Creatures. Now, this might look like a kind of mid-toned grassy green metallic, but when you turn the pan of this eyeshadow and when you swatch it, this shifts from a grassy green metallic shade to a beautiful burgundy reddish toned eyeshadow, which is really interesting because red and green aren't similar at all, so it's really fun how they were able to basically combine two shades into one mine that are not even similar in the slightest. And you'll see when I tilt my hand and kind of show off the swatch here, once I tilt it a certain way, you can really see that burgundy base shining through. It is absolutely beautiful. fyrinnae killed it with this eyeshadow. fyrinnae, I still don't know. Alright, beautiful people, what do you think about these eyeshadow toppers? Are these your jam, or are they something you want to steer very clear from? Because I love these, and I understand the mentality of not wanting to use something like this because they are sheer and you do have to build them up, and sometimes they do require a little bit of glitter glue. Okay, not sometimes, I take that back. All the time, they require a little bit of glitter glue, but it's not really that much of a hassle for me to use glitter glue. I don't know, maybe I'm used to it, but I just absolutely love the beautiful sparkle and shine of these. I love that you can layer them over top of darker shadows to get a different type of effect. And I also really love that you can just wear these alone, just all over the lid for a one eyeshadow look, and people will be asking you, what do you have on your eyes? They look really cool. It seems like every time I just wear like a lid topper like this, or just a duochrome sparkly shadow on top of my lids with nothing else other than lashes, I always get compliments. And then when I do a really extra look with like a super defined cut crease and just 3 shadows in the crease that I blended out for like 30 minutes, no one says nothing. Those sparkly lid toppers just give you a really effortless look. It looks like you put a lot of work into your makeup, but you really didn't. I absolutely love them. I love the ones that I picked out for you guys today to show you. These are so freaking beautiful. I cannot get enough of them, and my duochrome eyeshadow topper collection is expanding every single day, which is hard to admit because I have a shopping problem, but it's true, it really is. I just can't stop adding to my collection because I just cannot have enough of these. But with that being said, that is going to be wrapping up my single eyeshadow duochrome sparkly lid topper collection here that I wanted to share with you guys today. Please let me know down in the comments, are you like me and are you into these kinds of super sparkly, glittery, semi-sheer type lid toppers, or are they totally not your thing? Because I feel like it's either you love it or you hate it. There's really no in the middle when it comes to lid toppers. Some people want to run at the thought of lid toppers, but I am not one of those people, obviously. But like I said, I am going to be bringing you guys a video where I swatch all of my lid toppers in sparkly duochrome goodness shades from my eyeshadow palettes that I have in my collection, because I feel like I probably have more than I showed you here today. I probably have like twice as many in actual eyeshadow palettes than I do in single shadow form. So if you are not already subscribed and you are looking forward to watching that video, then I would absolutely love it if you would hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful, I would also love it if you gave me a big old thumbs up and ring the notification bell to know when I am posting. But I hope that you are having an absolutely amazing and beautiful day wherever you are, and thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you next time. Bye!